Hello and welcome to the Afterthoughts, after show afterthoughts. Well, that's because there's so much thinking that's going on in this conversation. I have my guest here, Scott Davenport Richards, and we have been talking about composition, librettos, uh, music, operetta, operas, everything on this hour in Lynnie Godfrey Straight No Chasers. So I suggest that you go back to that. But now I want Scott to say hello and to tell you he was telling me where one of his works is going to be featured. And so I really want you to know. So, Scott, there you go.
Oh, well, if you want to listen to the opera Blind Injustice, it is on all the streaming services, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Music, on like whatever your streaming service is, it is on it. And I think they've run out of CDs at if you order from since they though that it's they've run out of CDs.
Oh,
And but the but basically search Scott Davenport Richards Blind Justice and it will pop up. So there's
fabulous. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. We were talking also about the way that you work and the way that I believe there's a merging or a fusion of a lot of different things that you've experienced in your career when you compose. And one of the last things we were talking about on air was the reasons that you give your characters for being the when you start talking to your students. Tell me again
okay.
what again what you talk to your students about when they approach a work, please.
When they're well, I approach musical style from a design level. Like, so it is based, so I do think of like musical setting as a designer would think about a set. Like, so what is our time period?
Yes.
What is our time period? What is the class? What of our characters? What is the economic status of the characters? What is the culture out of which the characters are emerging? What are their aspirations? Not only what are they, but what do they want to be?
Mhm.
And what are the signs of what they want to be? And you can find all of that in music and make musical choices about each one of those ideas.
Mhm.
Um, so I try to get all my composition students to ask all those questions before they set a note to paper. Uh,
Mhm.
Maybe they improvise and they find it emotionally, and then they're able to articulate it. Sometimes music comes before articulation, but I think there's an important moment of articulation that in order to you can feel, and then in order to gain control to structure it through the entire piece, it's probably a good idea to articulate
Mhm.
so that you do have control. And I'm known for saying uh, to my composition students, you're getting together, your collaborators are getting together to write the musical, they're writing the scene, and they say, okay, we'll have the scene, and then he'll sing about how much he loves her. And I would say, banish the word sings about, or the phrase sings about, from your vocabulary, and make sure you structure the scene and the song so that they're singing in order to accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. How is he using the song to get her to love him? As
Yes.
opposed to, so my strategy is to I'm going to get her to love me by telling her how much I love her. So that is the strategy, and that's a different musical choice than I'm just going to sing about how much I.
Mhm.
And as a composer, you will find tension in the music if you are thinking of it from the point of view of that
Of
this is
that
the
way. Yes.
strategy to get her to
Yes, yes,
me.
yeah, yeah. That's amazing. Do you offer master classes in doing this away from Montclair, away from NYU? I mean, do
I
you?
I I do. I mean, I do. can be engaged to guest teach, or I can't. I am absolutely like people can invite me to do things.
Mhm.
I'll also be teaching like a series of uh, for the there's American Lyric Theater has like an opera training program, and I'll be a mentor and faculty member for
Mhm.
American Lyric Theater's opera training program, which is for like postgraduate school, people
Yes, yes,
like
yes.
professional musicians who are approaching opera.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm a part of. I have been a part of that, and I'll be a regular part of that next semester as well.
That's fabulous. That's what I
Um,
mean. I am uh, I'm always a student. I mean, I guess I always will be. And I love learning, um, and listening to something that is different from what I'm always fascinated by something that is different than what I have experienced before. And so you may see me sitting in an audience one day listening to you, if I can catch you somewhere.
well, please do. I will put you on the. I will let you know.
Please, it's fascinating what you're doing, and I think what you're doing also is changing the face a lot of the arts, and you're just doing the work, which is fabulous. That's why, but it's going to change. I think the fusion that we talked about. I think your approach. It's going to change how um, people, musicians, technicians approach the work, and therefore it will change the result of the work.
I grew up with what people are just. I feel like young people are just beginning, and some of our students are just beginning to get now. I
Mhm.
mean, Gil Evans. I would listen to Gil Evans working on arrangements in the apartment above my head for Miles Davis, like
Mhm.
when I was a young child,
Mhm.
and I would do that, and then I would go listen to my uncle in New Davenport play medieval music with like New York Pro Musica, and and this would be this would be all part of this would be part of the day. And
Yes, yes, yes,
that mix of music, not just on your Spotify playlist.
exactly, exactly.
It was sort of live for me at the time.
Well, you're invaluable. You are a source, I think, that people need to know about. And as your dad was, I think, remember, my first encounter with him wasn't about necessarily was it about theater, acting theater. He was doing a course on the history, um, I think it was history of Black theater. And I still have all of the things that he would, uh, you know, have us read. And if you were smart, you read it, try to find if you can get it copied so you keep it in your portfolio. So you remind me so much of the curiosity. You make me go back to the curiosity that I had way then about another approach of the arts, and how intelligent you are about. You're another encyclopedia, whether you know it or not. You are. You're an encyclopedia of that, and we must keep you healthy and and active, to make sure that we have you for resources forever. The last question that I do want to ask you is, and I asked about the 5 year, the projects that you're approaching, the three projects that you have, ultimately the last one being Great Expectations, and then the ropes, and then um, uh, the blind justice. Those are going to, they're wonderful projects. What do you want when people think of you? What do you, what impression do you think you give? That's what I,
I mean, as a person,
as a
or
person, as a
uh,
person, and then we'll go to the next level as a
they're incredible. Well, I think that all depends on who they are.
that's true. Yes.
That's, I mean, that's like depends on what they want and what are their fears. We get a character. What are their desires and what are their fears?
Specifically right there. Yes. Okay.
So I can be, so I could be, I can be seen as an ally, an asset. For
Mhm,
some people, I could be seen as a threat.
mhm.
Um, the for some people, I could, people approach anyone and like, oh, do they get me? Or like, did they, that's like, is it someone who's going to feel that I will get them, or is it someone, am I going to challenge them in a way that will bring them a new place and they appreciate it? Will I challenge them in a way that will make them scared about their preconceptions?
Mhm, mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so I think that all of those things
It's
are possible
that's
depending on who
very
the
interesting
person
that you
is.
say that. Yeah, because I think about that. Yeah, you do think about that. Um, uh, for some people, you are an enhancement. You enhance their lives. You will um, make it more colorful, more full. And for some
Well,
people, it's threatening.
I yeah, I can if they I feel I'm absolutely able to help people enhance people's lives. It's like
Yeah.
if they're
If they are open to it, though,
if they're open
people,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
So that's a fact. That yeah.
As an artist and as a human being, yes. Now, as an artist, um,
Um, I would like to. I eventually. Well, how would it like to be? How would it like to be? Like, um, I would. I. There are artists and there are composers whose goal has been to invent a new musical language.
mhm.
Um, I would like to be known as someone who figured out a new way of combining musical languages. I have no ambition to create a new musical language. And but to combine languages in a way that might not have happened before, but also in a way um, that absolutely that move people. I want to take people through wrenching emotional journeys and leave them feel and like otherwise, like if you're not going to do that, why use music if you're not going to do that?
Yes, yes, yes.
And leave people like drained and satisfied. Like,
Okay.
I don't, I want, like Brecht, I want people to be able to take some action, but I'm fine if they're drained and satisfied too.
Yes, the drain is satisfied.
There's,
Okay. I have nothing to say to that. I went, oh, okie dokie. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough for spending that hour with me on the radio, this time with me here. Um, uh, it's been wonderful. I'm going to check in and check in on you, whether you like it or not, to find out what's going on, what you're doing. Keep me on your list or your mailing list or something like that to so I can pop in and see what's going on because it's so fascinating to watch all of this happening as it's happening, as it's happening, as you are creating this world where there is a merging of all these things. Um, thank you.
thank you so much, Lenny. It's been a
Oh,
great pleasure.
it's really. Now you stay on. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and then I want to talk to you for 1 second. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here in the after show afterthoughts. You see, my guest is uh, a wonderful treasure, I believe, and one we will hear about his works and see more about his works as time goes on, and we'll understand the impact that he's going to have on the arts. So I thank him so much for sharing just a little bit of his time with us and being so open and so generous with his thoughts. And I thank you all for being there. And I will see you next time on the radio and look on Facebook and see when next we will be together. Talk to you. See you on the radio. Bye bye now.